this rear way here is a little bit either then mangled by someone trying to modify it, which I may see evidence of, because here you can see the grinding marks all the way here, and they're becoming faint, and here slick, and then over here again. You see how I've blued up? I've used the straight edge and blued up, so it's touching here. So it has a low here. And to prove that, of course, I have used the straight edge, as I said, both blued up, and then also you can use it like so to sit, just bridge across. And I have been told then to use shims of equal size. Doesn't matter exactly what size, but this equal to the high points, and then I use the third one here to measure with. And of course that can be either as thick as those or bigger, suspecting where, but at least 3 points like so. Then you can feel here it's resting. Like so. And now I can feel with this one, and I'm feeling here that it's loose, hence here that corresponds to my bluing, or these two, if I did this first and then bluing afterwards, correspond with one another. And then suspecting here or before I can use this as reference, then suspecting these two things that matches, and having measured both kind of with feeler gauges and then with bluing, I can also use this here as a reference or as a means to test, because this only now I've scraped off the paint and stoned lightly is machined. See the machining marks at the same time they did here. So then I can use here, just walking this across here like so, to the way here, over here, and measuring the deviation, and I find the same here, low here, by 0.04 of a millimeter at the worst. I also blew this up just to verify that it's flat. So I'm quite positive that it has a dip here of about 0.04 of a millimeter. It's not okay as reference, because when you measure the other ones here with respect to this real reference, you will of course have this deviation to cater for. And I have also then measured and found that actually without this being low here, the other ones are straight. So not much wear apart from the other, this rear here. So I'm, like I said, within reasonable doubt, certain that this can be used as reference. So I now use this one to, use this one to scrape here, and then afterwards I can use these to the other flats here. So I have one of my straight edges here in use. So I use just a normal paint roller here. Wipe off with my hands. It's not much to wipe off. I've now taken one scraping pass and stoned afterwards. And then I use this in this position, as I said, where it's horizontal. That's a prerequisite to be able to do anything worthwhile here. Otherwise you will fight gravity all the time. So now I feel I'm high in the middle. Here is my focal points. So I'm shifting here, just applying light pressure over where this is, and then you can then feel much better what you're doing. Doesn't take much. Now I see here, I'm touching, don't mind that, don't mind as much that either, but I see here. So I scrape that down and I see here still low. But to be able to maintain the original geometry, I have to measure to this plane all the time, of course. So I have to alternate between measuring and scraping to not modify or change the geometry. I also, of course, want this to be not just in the same plane like so, but also here. So both ways, so across also. So after some scraping cycles on the let's say the reference way here, or the establishment of that, I am now at the stage where it feels better, more like solid all over. It's still a little bit high in the middle, tad, but at least within usefulness, I think. So let's
now
see.
build up again. Now quite okay coverage, contact all over, but not quite as good up here. This is evident by looking at this in detail. So for the headstock area, it's not too concerned about that, need a little bit contact, but here you can see it covers all the way and then starts getting just contact in the middle, but still okay, it covers at least. So what I've done is really only to prepare the reference surface I'm going to use for scraping in and measuring the other surfaces and the rear flat. But for this reason, since this was not okay, I had to use this long flat mounting area for the taper attachment. And while scraping to establish references, it's important also to verify that they are plane parallel in both planes, as I show here. So this lathe gave me a little bit of a fight, but it was a needed process to restore the geometry. Not sure what has happened to this rear way, but now it is good as a reference to measure then from this to the other surfaces.